Welcome to Soul Infused Monday. Thank you for coming back here every week to learn, listen, grow, connect. I want to acknowledge you for being here and to start this week on a good note. So the Soul Infused Monday show is your show for a meaningful and inspired week. And today it's all about how to live in harmony, and I'm using the spiritual path of non-resistance to kind of ease into that. And I would love to hear who is listening in, who is watching here live. If you're on the replay, leave a comment below, say hello, and where you're watching or listening in from. And if you're listening this later on an audio like Inside Timer or somewhere, and you can't really leave a comment, leave me a message, write me a review, connect with me, let me know that you are here. Hey, Beth is listening from the car. That's fantastic. Now, the reason I'm gonna actually share some of the things that I'm reading right now, or rereading, some of the things that I'm working on right now. And when it comes to the path of non-resistance, this is not a new concept. Nothing is really a new concept. And especially if you've been on the journey for a long time, if you're someone who has done a lot of work already and finds, not still, because still is always like a judgment, but if you're finding, hey, I've done a lot of work and yet I still am in a growing process and I want to know more about the non-resistance. I'm going to share a little bit about my own journey. And I'm also going to bring in what Spirit wants me to bring in this very moment. So if you have a question or if you have a comment or something right now that's coming through you, please share that, because I will take the time to actually address that for you personally. Now, before I jump in, hey, Gail is here from the UK. Fantastic. So good to see you. I have missed you. Also, Alyssa, I've missed you too. I miss everyone. So who's here today? And Tina, if you're watching this on the replay or listening in, happy birthday. Tina is a very dedicated follower of me and client, and she deserves a shout out because of her commitment and consistency to show up every week. And today is her birthday, so maybe she's celebrating somewhere. So happy birthday. Now, what's harmony? And what does it mean to live in harmony? The word harmony itself is such a beautiful word, because from an energy perspective or the frequency, just tune in for a moment. I also would invite you to remove any distractions, like get yourself really settled in, be present. When you do 5 things at the same time, you really don't do anything really. You are so scattered. Focus on one thing only. And I often say, focus on being here right now, and if that's not your priority, rather skip this and do something else, but with your full attention. Of course, I want you to stay here with me, but at the same time, I'd rather you be focused and present with one thing, and I don't think there's anything more important right now than being here. So stay with me. Being in harmony for me, or from an energetical perspective, is like things are in harmony, they're vibrating in according to a certain frequency versus it being distorted, scattered, or fighting against each other. So for me, being in harmony or living in harmony also means to be in flow and to live versus controlling life. Anything I share out of own experience. I've been on the journey for over 23 years. I've been doing inner work for the same amount of time. I've been teaching for over 18 years. The journey continues, and there's never too much repetition. So if you hear something today that you've heard before, fantastic. You need to hear it again. And if you think, oh my God, I know this already, bam, then you get to hear it again. So if you have anything that's coming up that's saying, oh yeah, I know this already, oh yeah, this is not working for me, or hey, I've heard it a million times. Well, maybe you need to hear it a million times and one more time, because you're just the same as I am. So I want to share something about one of my favorite books. I read this book like back when I was still living in Germany, so it's over a decade ago. And then that was back in German, obviously, and it was one of my favorite books back then. And then I bought myself another copy in English years ago when I was living in Turks and Caicos. And it's one of the few books that I actually have in physical form through the traveling, and I have a Kindle. So, and I want to read you something out of it, that it's about the spiritual path of non-resistance. So the book is The Untethered Soul. Some of you might have it. I'm curious who knows this book, who has read this book. Doesn't matter if it was yesterday or a decade ago or in the future, maybe you think about, or if this resonates with you, The Untethered Soul. And only recently that I've been going through my own journey, I sometimes like to just have books lying around and randomly I open up something to read. And I was particularly tuning into being more in acceptance, more in flow with life, and in harmony with my truth. And so I opened this book randomly, and I opened chapter 16. So that was chapter 16 opened up for me, and it's called The Spiritual Path of Non-Resistance. I've read this plenty times before. I've been on this journey long ago, for a long time. And here's what I've been doing for the last week. For the last week, I've been rereading this chapter every day. Now, why would I do that? So for any of those who, or if you ever think, oh yeah, I know this, I've heard this before. I've heard this before plenty of times. And now here's the thing. When you read something, or when something is resonating with you, or if you are focusing on something specific in your life, or if you're working on something specific in your life, for me at the moment is really the path of non-resistance on a deeper level, because consciously we all understand it. What we resist persists. Fighting it doesn't help. Like, we all understand this consciously, but we are still driven by our subconscious mind in this 95%. So no matter how much you are aware that you are actually not aware, you're still not aware 95% of your time. So I've been reading this chapter or parts of it every day before my meditation or throughout the day. And every time I read it, something else comes up, because the person that read this book like 15 years ago is not the same person that I am today. When I read the book a few years ago, I was not the same person that I am today. When I read this a week ago, I'm not the same person than yesterday. And right now in this very moment, I'm again not the same person that I was yesterday. So every time I read this, it sinks in deeper, or I pick something else that comes up that stands out. And I'm sharing this with you because this is such a wonderful thing to do. If maybe this is a habit that you want to open up for yourself, like some books that really mean something to you, or your most favorite books, leave them around, but somewhere where you can see them, not in your bookshelf. Have a book somewhere, everywhere in your house, and maybe randomly you want to open up one instead of going to your phone. That's why I'm doing this. I want to train myself to be less on my phone. I want to be more in my books. Who can resonate with that? I want to check in here the comments, and if you know the book. I can never hear it enough. Reinforcement and practice is never-ending process. Yeah, Alyssa, you're so right. Absolutely, nobody can hear enough. I know the book, but haven't read it. Non-resistant is my biggest issue to work on. So important to be aware of resistant construction is the body. Yes. Typos, don't worry about it. Hi, Tamira, so good to see you. Can you please put the book in this chat? I would love to check it out. I have a couple books I keep on my stand. So here's the book. If anyone wants to type it for me real quick, The Untethered Soul. Oops, where is it? The Untethered Soul from Michael A. Singer. If someone is so kind to write it in the chat. Yeah, I want to get off the phone too. Absolutely. Get into the book and off the phone. Even 5 minutes. I'm not taking, like one sentence, maybe one passage, and it can be any book. I have other books, obviously. Now, let's talk about non-resistance for a moment. First, we all are resisting. Like, it's just part of, for whatever reason, we don't even have to go in. As human beings, we resist what we don't like, we resist discomfort, we resist ourselves, and a lot of it is still unconscious. So it's really about the awareness, the consciousness, the practice, and one of the best ways to deal with resistance once you're in it and you notice it, because let's be real, as long as you're not noticing it, you're not going to do anything about it. We're talking about the moments where you have consciousness, right? When you are aware. Now, you know that I often talk about the breath, but the antidote to resistance, obviously, is non-resistance. But what helps and is an antidote to resistance is relaxation. Relaxing your body. And that's why you can use your physical body to support the energy and the psychological reasons behind the resistance. So I'm not going to go into deeper issues, why and what you're resisting. That's deeper inner work that you get to do for yourself. And if you want to do it with me, reach out to me. Or if you're currently working with me and you feel like you want to do more about that piece, let me know. But what you can do from an awareness perspective is every time you catch yourself when you resist something, it can be a thought, it can be an event, it can be a person, it can be anything. I'm going to share a few things. I've been resisting, obviously, all my life too. And it's particularly this year, since the surgery, I was in so much resistance. I'm a pro, an expert, and I am also an expert in letting go of resistance and not resisting. So it's a balance, it's a dance. Everything is a dance. So relaxing, and I mean relaxing your body physically. Here's what happens when you resist something. Let's say you see something, or you hear something, or you feel something, and you resist it. What comes with resistance is always tension. You cannot really resist in a relaxed state. You could just try it out right now. Just take a nice deep breath. Take another nice deep breath and just relax your body as much as you can. There's no perfection here, there's no pressure. Just relax the muscles that you know and notice that are tense. Maybe it's your jaw, maybe it's your neck. Maybe it's your fingers. Maybe it's your base chakra. Maybe it's something completely different. And some of the things you might not be aware of it, maybe it's one of your organs. Maybe your liver is tense. Maybe your little toe is tense. Like, just relax as much as you can. And the more you relax your physical body, the more it helps you also to become present, the more you use your breath, and then you can look at resistance from a different place than just being caught up in it. Does that make sense? The Untethered Soul, Michael A. Singer. Yes, I have that book. Okay, fantastic, Tamira. You see, we are all connected. It's happening. So I want to read two sentences that I read that might resonate with you too. That stand out in a way, even though we know it. We'll just need to hear it sometimes. So, the spiritual path of non-resistance, some of the highlights that I had on my book, okay? So, If something happens that we don't like, we resist it. Okay, we all do. But since what we are resisting has already taken place, that's important to understand. What good is it to resist? Now I want to say this again. But since what we are resisting has already taken place, what good is it to resist? It's in the past, but we're still resisting it in the present moment. A very good example of my personal life is all the nightmares and trauma and suffering I had throughout my youth, with the surgeries that I shared many times here that I'm not going to go into. And I had to revisit this year in January, where I had to have another surgery. And I really afterwards, and things went well. It was really tough. It was the most challenging time in 20 years for me. And I noticed that sometimes I was resisting it. I was resisting it so much, even though it was already past. This year's surgery passed, all the other stuff, but internally I resisted being in that state. I resisted the outcome. I didn't want to accept it. But there was nothing not to accept. There was no, it happened already. So that brought me to really tuning into this again. So whatever you are maybe dealing with for a very long time and you're resisting it, maybe this is for you today to see, hey, maybe I'm still resisting. You have something in your mind, Now, another sentence. What we are really resisting in the experience of the event passing through us. So what we are really resisting, is the experience of the event passing. So we are not actually resisting the event itself. We are resisting the experience of it, okay? And because we don't want it affecting us inside. That's also important. Like what we're resisting ultimately, I might resist what happened to me 20 years ago, but what I'm really resisting is my inner experience, my internal experience, okay? And another one that I wanted to share, and of course there's a lot before, there's a lot in between, but one that's really, really important as well. And I've said that many times myself, but it's so beautifully simply written here. Since the event has already passed, you are actually struggling with yourself, not with the event, right? So I just explained that before, but I just wanted to bring this out here. So since the event already passed, you're actually not struggling with the event or with the issue or with the problem, whatever that might be. You're actually struggling and resisting yourself and your own experience to it. Does that make sense, guys? Is this landing here for you? Hi, Juan. Yes, absolutely. Resistance creates energy blocks. Absolutely. That's why I'm talking about it, right? Yes, yes, yes. I could obviously keep reading that I want. If this resonates with you and you have the book, you can just fast forward to chapter 16 or read it again or buy it or borrow it or download it. So what's landing here for you? Leave me a comment below. What's landing here for you? Is this resonating with you? Do you have any questions? And there are so many other pieces that I just want to see of this. Also, another thing that I wanted to say is when it is important, if it's important to you to live in harmony, in a harmonic vibration, and focused on living more non-resistant, like living a path of non-resistance. You also got to accept that you are resistant. It's like you wanna also not resist the resistance, right? So it's consciousness, is awareness, is choice. And then also what's super, super important is that you do the deeper inner work so that the 95% of your subconscious mind is kind of like also part of the healing, because you can tell yourself mentally or consciously, oh, I'm going to be in non-resistance today. I'm going to accept my life as it is, and 5% of your consciousness is totally on board, and 95% is caught up with beliefs and traumas and wounds that are totally against it. For example, one belief that is collectively held, it's just only one, right? And not for everyone as much as for others, but one belief that we all hold on a very deep level. And even if you worked on that one before, maybe there's another layer, that wants to unfold and open up, is it's not safe, or I am not safe. If your body or parts of your internal life and world don't feel safe, they will resist the environment in some way when you get triggered. Does that make sense? So of course you want to dig a little deeper, but even if you simply, when you do your morning routine, set the intention to be conscious and aware and check your physical bodies. What am I resisting? Discover, what are you actually resisting? What are you resisting? Is it a behavior? Is it a feeling? Is it an event from the past? Is it a certain person? Make a little inventory. What are you consciously aware? What are you resisting? So that you can focus on every time you catch yourself resisting. You take a deep breath, you relax your body. You take really some time to fully relax your body as much as you can in that moment. A relaxed body. And I'm just trying it out. Like when you are relaxed, it's very hard to resist. Because you're relaxed. And when you're relaxed, energy flows better. Okay, so this is, of course, a huge topic, as you know. If you like this topic and if you want me to talk more about this, send me a message, engage with me, send me feedback, and I'm going to check the comments here. And if you have any questions, let me know before we jump off here. What if we are resisting something that we know we need to do in the future, like my writing or drawing? That's a great question, Alyssa. And I have a sentence for you, if I find it. If not, I will answer it myself. But this is so good that I actually want to read it to you. Okay. I think that's it, and if not. By the way, Alyssa and anyone else, I would remove the word I need to, because you don't need to do it in the future, especially not your writing and drawing. If you want to, you do it, if you choose to, but you don't need, it gives pressure and kind of like the energy of I need to, it's not a good energy. So, you brought a good topic up, because resistance is either we generally resist something in the past or something in the future. So either way, you're not in the present moment, and the concept is the same. You still get to stop the resistance. You can let it pass through you. It doesn't mean that you don't deal with things. So non-resistance does not mean you don't deal with things. Very important. Non-resistance just means you stop the resisting that keeps you locked in a non-present state and keeps you locked in suffering, and you can't really do much about it. And it's a complete waste of time. So you still get to deal with it, but often it's like we are either in the past or in the future, and we want to begin. So let me see if this is the one. You are sitting inside, resisting impressions from the past or thoughts about the future. Think of how much energy is wasted resisting what has already happened or might actually happen in the future and might never. So I hope this helps a little bit. It's basically the same thing, whether you are resisting something in the past or you're resisting something in the future, unless you know what the future really brings. I feel it's more like taking the pressure off and reprogram that in a different way, and see, is this in my true alignment that I want to paint and draw? And if it's something that I really want to do and there's resistance, then you deal with it. Then you deal with that part and look inside what's actually really going on inside of me that I'm not doing what I really so much would love to do. I hope this helps. I think I confuse resistance with boundaries. Oh, yeah, that's a really good point, especially if I feel someone is invading my space. Yes. Resistance and boundaries are very different. That's a very good point. It's not the topic for today, Amy, but I speak a lot about boundaries. You can go back to that or reach out to me. I can explain a little bit more individually. Setting a healthy boundaries and resisting something are two different things. That's a good insight, Amy. 1, 2, or choose to is a great reminder. Yes. See how easy. Yes. You're welcome. I love you too. Okay, fantastic. As I said, I can talk about this for hours. I have been talking about this for years with you guys. I wanted to just give you a little bit of inspiration today, share a little bit about my own journey. Just a few things to repeat. Resistance is part of your reality, part of your experience. First of all, check that, don't resist that. Awareness, consciousness is the key. Relaxation is one of the best antidotes to resistance. Of course, you get to deal with what's subconsciously still keeping you locked there. It's a conscious choice you make. And if it's something that you really want to improve, then you get to do that every day. You know, if it's reading something every day or setting the intention every day or dealing with what's actually really causing you to resist, it's not just gonna happen just because you want to, right? And focus on harmony, you know? Read a book instead of being on your phone. 1 sentence a day. 1 sentence a day keeps resistance away. That would be cool. I don't think that's how it works, but yeah, 1 sentence a day might keep resistance away. And one thing also to live in harmony is surround yourself with people that are like-minded. That is not necessarily on topic, but it was something that I really wanted to say something. Let's say today for some of you. Your consciousness and your belief system is yours, obviously, and has an impact on you. However, everything around you has an impact on you too. Collective thoughts, the whole matrix, you are influenced by it if you want it or not. Now, you can be as clean or clear or positive or harmonious as you want. If most of your environment is not, it will drag you down. But it's your responsibility. It's not their fault or anything. But sometimes I see it, especially with highly spiritual people that are on the path, that have done a lot of work, and they're very committed, and they struggle to set boundaries or remove certain people. And remove sounds a little harsh, but you know, but I'm gonna keep it. Remove certain people or communities or just people around them that they're consistently engaged with. They're not in alignment with their own values. If the majority of what's around you is not in alignment with your belief system, in your consciousness, in your vision, in your harmony, it's very, 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 very hard to keep that. So keep that in mind. You get to keep your house clean, beautiful, loving. You gotta love your house. You gotta take care of your house. You gotta do whatever it takes to love your house and keep it beautiful. But if somebody's coming in constantly from outside and putting trash in your house, it's very hard to keep it clean. All right, so that's my analogy for the end of the show today. I hope this was valuable. And before you leave, I know you are just about to leave, stay here for 30 more seconds, here right now. Tune in. What is your biggest takeaway from today? What is your biggest takeaway? Don't go. Don't get just right away into something else. Stay with this woman. What's your biggest takeaway? And share it with me. Because when you tune in, what is my biggest takeaway? It anchors it more into you. By sharing it, by writing it down here, it creates more strength. You build the muscle And you also help someone else maybe get a really great insight. And you give me feedback. It's a win, 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 win. So do it for yourself, do it for someone else, and do it for me. What's your biggest takeaway from today's episode? I love that analogy. Yeah, I love that too. I just, I don't think I shared that one, but it's so great. If you keep your house clean, and you know how much energy it costs? You just cleaned your house and someone comes in and throws the trash in. So you clean it again, or you live in the trash. And sometimes you can't keep up with cleaning. Such a good analogy. Okay, I'm going to stay here for 1 more minute. Let me know what your biggest takeaway is. Also, if you are on the replay or if you're listening in, leave a comment below, send me a message, leave a review. Another takeaway here is relaxation is key and resistance is tension. Yeah, fantastic getaway. Fantastic takeaway and getaway. And Juan is saying, be present and relax. Oh my God, this is so simple, but it's so difficult for most of us. That's such a great takeaway. Thank you. Be present and relax. I'm going to say it again. Tune into the energy. Be present and relax. May that be the energy for the rest of your day, and to set the intention for the rest of the week. And I will see you next Monday for a new episode of Soul Infused Monday. Thank you for being here. I love you, appreciate you, and I'm sending you much love. Bye for now.